Hey there, it's me, Matthew. Welcome back. I'm glad you're here. Last time, we talked about the parables of the lost thing, the lost sheep, the lost coin, and the lost son. We learned that Jesus was here, or came to earth, to save the lost. And we learned that when a sinner repents of their sin and turns toward God, heaven celebrates. Anyways, today we're going to be learning about another miracle. Let's go! Bible story time. Bible story time. Today's miracle can be found in the books of Matthew, Mark, and Luke. Matthew chapter 8, Mark chapter 4, and Luke chapter 8. Jesus had just finished teaching and healing a whole bunch of people, and he had the idea to cross the lake that they were near. So the disciples got to it, got the boat prepared, and they were off. Soon into the trip, though, Jesus got tired and fell asleep at the back of the boat. And I like that they tell us this, that they show that Jesus was indeed human and had the same basic needs as us. He needed to rest. He had just spent a bunch of energy teaching and healing people, and he needed to rest. The disciples, being some of them being fishermen and having spent most of their life on the water, were pros at boating. And they're going, and all of a sudden, a large storm forms around them. And this storm was a big storm, like howling winds, rain coming in sideways because of the wind, and waves super big crashing into the boat. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I haven't been on too many boats, but I could imagine that would be super scary, because I know water is supposed to be outside the boat and not inside the boat. But the disciples were managing, and then they got super scared. The Bible says that they were in great danger. So what do? They run to Jesus and ask Jesus to help them, to save them from the storm. I've got this book. It's Read Aloud Bible Stories by Ella K. Lindeval. And there's a super funny picture in here because they talk about this story. And I just really enjoy this picture because look at how scared those disciples are. They're like, Jesus, save us, wake up. And my favorite part is this guy. What is he pointing at? He's like pointing way off into the distance. It's like, is the storm not just all around them? And that guy just is pointing out into the distance. But anyways, Jesus wakes up and says, "You of little faith, why are you so afraid?" Question. What are you afraid of? Talk about it. For me, it's centipedes. Woo! Just thinking about it gives me all the heebie-jeebies. I think it's all the legs. I don't know, why do they have so many? Anyways, I think it's encouraging that in the story that the disciples, even though they had Jesus right there in the boat with them, they still got scared. But their fear got reprimanded by Jesus. It got rebuked. And I think the story is telling us that we can have fear, we just can't let it control our lives to the point that it's making decisions for us. Our faith in Jesus should be the driving force, the thing that's leading us forward, and not the fears of our life. Anyways, Jesus wakes up and he rebukes the wind. And luckily, in Luke, it tells us the words he uses, which are quiet, be still. And if Luke hadn't had those words and it just said he rebuked the wind, I would have, my imagination would have been like, this is what Jesus was like. Stop it. Stop it. Hey. I feel like that's, in my mind, that's what Jesus would do if he was rebuking something. But it doesn't say that. It says that he said, quiet, be still. And immediately, the winds and the waves stop, and it becomes incredibly quiet and still. The winds and waves obey Jesus' voice. And I like that this part of the story shows the God side of Jesus, right? We learned of a human side of Jesus where he needed to rest, he needed to regain that energy. And here, at the end, it shows his God side. Even the winds and the rains and the waves obey his voice. Now the disciples were still in the boat, and they started to talk amongst themselves, and they were like, "Who is this man that even the winds and the waves obey him?" I think it's pretty cool that just in this story that is a max of 7 verses, we get to see the human side of Jesus and the God side of Jesus. And I think that makes him pretty relatable to us, right? Because he got tired, and I definitely get tired. You may or may not. I don't know. But I'm pretty sure you do at some point. But it also shows us that during the storms of our lives, that Jesus is able to be there and help us and calm the storm that's happening in our lives. Now, what do you mean by storm, Matthew? Like the rain and the wind? No, it's more of like the tough times in your life. So maybe you're at school and you're having trouble understanding things and you don't think you're going to finish with good grades. Like that would be a tough time. Or maybe you move somewhere new and you don't know the area and you're like, what's going on? Another tough time. Or maybe you're new at school and you don't have any friends yet, and it seems like you're never going to have any friends. A tough time in your life. And I think instead of focusing on the fears that arise with those situations or the problems that would arise, focusing on Jesus is the better option here, right? Letting Jesus guide your life in those times, because he provides comfort and he'll calm the storm of your life. He'll calm those anxious and worried and fearful thoughts that you might be having. He'll help you. A final thought for us today. Don't let fear rule your life. Trust in Jesus, and he will give you comfort and calm those storms. I think another big tip is to talk about your fear with somebody you trust. Talk about it. Because oftentimes when you talk about it, the scary thing becomes less scary. So go talk about it with somebody you trust. Until next time, I'll see you later. Bye!